get into the. I have an icebreaker. In one word, how would you describe assessment in your classroom?
Yeah, my classroom is called Mahavir.
The floor is open.
Yeah.
Mary, are you there? Okay, icebreaker in one word. How would you describe assessment in your classroom, Mary?
I would describe assessment as T for tough. Because it's quite hectic. So my word is tough.
Test. You can even read what's on the chat, Leonard. Leonard, you can unmute. You are mute. Yeah. Unmute, Leonard. Yes, I was saying you can even read in the chat. In the chat, I've put there the word test.
Yes.
Yes, I can. Leonard, can I help? I've written test. There's stuff from Meritago. There's from Nuru, there's feedback. That's what I've seen in the chat so far. Test, staff, feedback. Leonard could be having challenges with the. Leonard, unmute. You are mute. Your problem.
I think Leonard is having a problem. So let me stand in until he comes back. Eh? So Chair, you are reading something in the chat. I see Meritago has written evaluation. Nuru has said feedback. There was also tough. Frederick says test. So,
Okay.
Leonard, are you back?
Yes, I'm back.
Okay, continue.
All right. So our next icebreaker is what is the assessment method that has worked well for you? Have we got the hello? Hello?
Yes, we are hearing you.
Yes, yes. Our next icebreaker before we embark on this discussion is what is one assessment method that has worked really well for you?
Question and answer.
Next.
I've used peer assessment among my students. I think it has helped me a lot.
Okay, thank you very much. We would like to go straight away to module 2, which is engaging with the assessment for learning. And these are the objectives. The aim of the module is to explore the main areas of assessment for learning strategies, effective questioning, teacher feedback, peer feedback, and self-assessment. You will plan how to apply assessment for learning strategies in the classroom. So module 2 has three units. The first one is integrating assessment. The second one is effective feedback for learning. And the third one is peer self-assessment. So we're going to be systematic and delve into each one of them by way of question and answer. So to kick off the discussion, in your view, what is integrating assessment? What did you learn under integrating assessment? Are we together? Okay, I learn about assessment of learning and assessment for learning. Thank you. Rukia, assessment for learning. Thank you. Thank you. Having said that, you've talked about assessment for learning and assessment of learning. What is the difference between assessment for learning and assessment of learning? Let's get answers, please. Assessment for learning and assessment of learning. Yes, Mary Tago.
Okay, thank you. I learned that assessment of learning is what we usually do. That is, it is traditional. It is a summative assessment that comes at the end of a topic. It is meant to evaluate the understanding of the learners, and is usually done by the teacher for the sake of grading and giving marks, while assessment for learning is ongoing, and it is collaborative between the teacher and the learners. The learners are involved in assessment for learning, and the teacher works towards knowing what the students already know, and then brings in what they don't know in the lesson. It's basically, it is ongoing. It's like formative assessment, while assessment of learning is summative assessment. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much, Mary. Frederick. Okay. Bureau assessment for, okay. Rukia.
I think Mary has said what I wanted to say. Thank you.
Welcome. Our next question that is closely related to that is, how often do you tell your learners at the start of the lesson what they are going to learn? Do you tell often do you tell your learners at the start of the lesson what they are going to learn? How often do you tell your learners at the end of the lesson what they are going to learn? Rukia, almost always. So from the look of things, we do it most of the time. Okay, Isaac Mwangi, always. Okay, the next question. The next question is, do you share the success criteria with your learners? Do you share the success criteria with your learners? Mary Tago, yes, I do. That's great. Margot, at times, like when planning on goals. That's great. And targets, that's Margot, and targets. Our next question is, do you give your learners written feedback or comments on how to improve? Do you give your learners written feedback or comments on how to improve? Yes. Yeah, we have yes, we are saying yes. But then a follow-up question to that. How do you manage it in large classes? Okay, the question is, how do you manage giving written group work and peer feedback? Thank you. Yeah, through group work and peer feedback. The next question is, do you ask learners to assess themselves? Rarely, I correct common mistakes. Very well. Yes, Margot, yes. Very great. I think if there is anything one of you would like to add on integrating assessment, the floor is open before we get to the next unit. Yes. If there is anything you would like to add, this is the time. Yes, Mwangi. Mwangi, tell us something.
Sorry, Ronald, I'm on transit, so I may not be able to respond promptly. Come up again, please.
Yeah, I would like you to tell us what you learned under integrating assessment.
I think assessment for learning helps learners to be reflective. Just as a follow-up to what you said, the question whether we at times ask learners to assess themselves or even give feedback to themselves. So when a teacher emphasizes on that practice, the learners become reflective and they grow, and they also grow their 21st century skills.
Thank you very much. You could go ahead and tell us something about effective feedback for learning.
I think effective feedback for learning, because when we are working on assessment for learning, we give feedback and the learners get to know where to improve. And once they know that, then the learning becomes better and the end results also becomes better.
Thank you very much. So when it comes to feedback, is it supposed to be immediate or delayed? And what is the effect of immediate feedback?
I see Margot's hand is up.
Yes, Margot.
Actually, what I wanted to add on was what Rukia had said, and I wanted to add it on as when you get immediate feedback, it helps you as a teacher to be able to know how whether you are meeting your educational goals from the scheme of work and the lesson plans that you have. So it's always good to maybe after a session, you give like a quiz, or from the assignments, you'll be able to tell whether this learner is doing well or not well. So the immediate feedback is essential for us as teachers.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Let's get to the next question. What are the benefits of peer or self-assessment? The benefits of peer or self-assessment. Mary? Mary?
Okay, thank you. The benefits of peer and self-assessment, one is that the students will learn to work in collaboration, and in that, they'll understand and respect each other because they have to get something about what they have done from their peers, from their friends. So it will enhance that that collaboration. And then another thing, the students kind of they become, we say, autonomous in their learning. They are part of the learning. That's what I mean. They are part of the learning. It's not like the teacher is there to do everything. They also have some knowledge. So they become autonomous in their learning. And then another thing I can say is that they can easily transfer what they have learned, what they have received from their peers to other areas because they have a life, they have other areas of life in which they can transfer whatever they have learned from their peers, and that is a positive thing. And also, okay, let me stop there. Kind of, I've missed the other that I wanted to say, but thank you.
Welcome. Maybe Rukia, you could add on to what she's said. Margot. Margot.
Yeah, I can just add on what Mary has said. I agree about the interrelating of the subjects or different topics where maybe you learned about vocabulary in such a in one session, then in the next one you'll be able to use whatever you've learned to get into that other topic. For instance, if you're using now the comprehensions, then now you come to the comparative and superlative sentences, so they interjoin each other, just as Mary.
I think what I want to add to what
Yes.
and Marco have said is that when they do peer or self-assessment, they also get to learn the criteria that the teachers use to assess them, and it makes it more like relaxing and easier for them to work on their assignments because they understand the criteria. There's no feeling of unfairness. They know what is expected, and it's easy to meet the expectations or approach the expectations better than when they don't know the procedure and what it entails. So it makes learning and even teaching for the teacher easier.
So at the end of the day, the learner benefits most when they assess themselves, so that they get to know what is expected of them in terms of the teacher's expectations. You've talked about being independent, that is autonomy. They'll be independent, they love learning, they'll own it. It will be part of them. And I think by and large, we need to involve our learners in the assessment process. Traditionally, the assessment was meant for the teachers to undertake. But going forward, we need to involve the learners so that as you said, begin the 21st century skills like communication, critical thinking, and all that. Let's get to the next question. Which tools do we use when assessing learners? Which tools do we use when assessing learners? Hello? Welcome, Elizabeth.
I could say maybe from the assignment that you give and the quizzes in class, you'll be able to assess them on how they perform. I don't know whether I'm getting the question correctly. Yeah, maybe by giving quizzes in the class and weekly
You are on the
cards.
right track. You are on the right track. Any other? Margo, go on. Provide more information, please.
Okay, now maybe from that is when you can maybe collect data, analyze them as they work. You'll be able to rate them from the CAT and the quizzes, like I've said. Then the other thing, you can also interpret, maybe for storytelling, you can know whether this learner is being fluent or they have difficulties in learning. You can get different aspects as the lessons continues. Then maybe at the end of the day, you'll be able to tell whether you've achieved it. When we're evaluating ourselves, I'm sure we normally evaluate ourselves from the way we are teaching that lesson. So during the evaluation time, at the end of the lesson, you'll ask maybe questions from what you've taught, and you'll be able to tell whether you've achieved your goals, the objectives that you had in that lesson. So that time you'll be able to assess whether you're going on well. Yeah, you'll be able to measure your.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much. And Elizabeth, as you're joining us, you could tell us how your experience was like with the module 2. Elizabeth?
Just give me a second to get my head into the meeting.
Oh, thank you. Welcome. Anyway, maybe one of you could give a rejoinder of what Marga said.
We have good points on the chat box from Catherine.
Okay, Marga, go ahead and read them, please.
She says orally, using checklists, answering answer choices cards, and board.
All right. Those are the tools we use when giving feedback. Right. We've actually learned a lot with regards to assessment. And you realize that module 3 is one that has really helped us. Module 2 is one that really helped us to bring all that on board. So we would like to share our experiences with regards to the same module 2, so that those of us who have not gone through module 3 could have an easy way out. So each one of us will say something about his or her experiences of module 2. Let's begin with Mary.
Okay, thank you very much, Leonard. To me, module 2 was very important. Talking about assessment, that was very important to me, looking at the tools to use, because when we started, I said to me, assessment, one word for it is tough. It is the toughest time of the term. And I was able to tell that actually it can be easier. Like when I was going through it, I find that most of the time when we go the traditional way, you tell the students what you want to teach. And then after teaching, you give work. Most of the time, the students are timid. They don't know what to write, especially when it comes to writing. So I learned that there is a better way. Together, you can introduce the lesson. Together, you develop the success criteria so that they understand exactly what is expected of them. And then another thing, that if they were to work in a group to assist each other, it's even easier. So I feel that after looking at Unit 2, then my this time of the term will not be T for tough again. I can get the students get to know, to understand their objectives and goals, because during the term, I would have engaged, I would have made them to engage with their peers and get to understand. And then another thing that came out clearly was that give clear instructions. Give clear instructions so that they know what to do. Most of the time we are there, we are standing, we are waiting for them to make the mistakes. So I learned that, and I think my teaching, my evaluation would be better than it has been. Thank you.
I don't know what's happening with Leonard, but I just want to add on what Mary you've said. While assessment for learning might seem tedious for the teacher at the start, I would encourage teachers to look at that, because eventually once the learners get the points or the steps that they need to take in order to self-assess, peer assess, and all that, it makes their work easier. And as we've seen, there are so many benefits when it comes to learners knowing how to assess themselves. So like what you've said, the teacher tells the learners what the learning outcome is, and also finding out what language the learners know, and involving them in creating like the criteria to mark and give feedback. So it might seem tedious for a teacher at the start, but once the learners grasp, it makes your work easier in the long run, and it creates interest in the learners to take responsibility of their own learning. So maybe someone else can share as we wait for Leonard to come back.
Maybe I can pick up from where you've left, Rukia.
Sure.
I'm in agreement that as much as it might seem like a lot of work, the benefits outweigh that. And personally, I think what drew me so much to it is the idea of confidence and independence that it gives the learner. When we are working with a group that does not like to be told, they like to do. And so if you can give that guidance and you can reinforce as a teacher peer and self-assessment, as they said, and you help them create their own motivation within them and that independence that we are talking about, I think it is of more benefit to them because they're learning what they want to learn. They're learning how to do it by themselves, and you're simply just at the background guiding them through it. So I feel like at the end of the day, they're owning what they're learning so much, and it gives them more direction, more hunger to learn, which at the end of the day is what we are looking for. And I think what we are walking into with the idea of CBE right now. Thank you.
Very, very true. And I like what you said, that they own their learning. Yeah, and that's the beauty, you know, when you see learners really enjoying learning and feeling it's mine for me to work on. I think that's a very beautiful space in teaching. Nuru's hand is up.
True.
Okay, what I would like to add is I think I've learned a lot on assessment for learning, because I think I was using the traditional one where you teach a topic and then at the end you give the learners an exercise to do to assess if they got the concept or not. But the idea of assessment for learning, that is integrating assessments as you teach, that is something I'm really looking forward to use. Although I think I've been using it in a way in terms of self-assessment and peer assessment, but most of the times we find that when we use self-assessment and peer assessment, the administration does not appreciate, because it looks like the teacher is not doing his or her part. When you give students like the criteria for assessing a given topic, and they either assess themselves or they assess each other, it looks like the teacher is avoiding marking. I think we need to change not just our attitude, I think even that of our colleagues, so that we can embrace it, because we have just been judged to be lazy teachers who don't want to mark students' work. You just let them mark for themselves. So I think it gives me the confidence to go on with self and peer assessment. But something else that I've learned in peer assessment, which I've not been using, is the learners assessing each other. They come up with questions or forms of assessment, and they assess their partners, or they do it in groups. I think that is something I'm looking forward to try, where learners come up with their own questions and then they share, give them to other students. They answer the questions and then they mark for them. That helps them to understand better, and at the same time, I think it will improve on learner engagement and make learning and assessment learner-centered. Thank you.
Thank you, Nuru, and very true. Yes, we might be looked at as lazy teachers, but in the long run, it makes the learners better, and they become high performers in the end. Because you see, when you're helping them correct their mistakes as they learn, they improve, and in the long run, they become better learners and better performers. And I don't know how we are going to sensitize our colleagues in order for them to also embrace this. Maybe that's something that is food for thought. There's a message here from Chairman. He says, thanks everyone for attending this session. Thanks Irene for moderating the other session. Thanks, Rukia, for the direction and guidance. This is a prelude to our project and reinforcement to our previous projects with British Council. We shall get back to you as soon as possible with more information. So that's a message from the chairman. Elizabeth says, assessment for learning is the way to go. Yeah, very true. I agree. Any other person who wants to share their takeaway? And remember, Nuru, the other thing, even as you do the assessment for learning, you're working towards improving the outcomes, but eventually, of course, there'll still be assessment of learning, but the assessment for learning will make the end results also better.
I agree. Because if we use assessment for learning during lessons, by the time we actually do assessment of learning, their performance will, or the outcomes will be better. I totally agree.
So we are on the top of the hour. Our time is up. So unless there's any other burning issue, I just want to thank you so much for joining and wish you the best as you continue with module 3 for those who are still continuing with this. And we'll see you again next weekend. I called for someone to help me moderate that session. In case there's someone who's willing to help me moderate module 3, I'll appreciate it. I see Leonard is back, so I'll let him close the session for us because we're already at 8 p.m.
Thank you very much. Thank everyone for the great ideas today. Your contributions made the session lively and insightful. Let us keep the spirit of learning going. Otherwise, happy for you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Leonard.